Hello and welcome to the week that was. My name is Mo, and today we'll be taking you through some of the biggest headlines to hit the Daily Sun this week. Now, as usual, I'm not alone. I'm joined by Amos Mananyetso, who will be taking us through the headlines on behalf of the Daily Sun, and we'll be definitely giving you our insights and giving you our thoughts about the stories. Amos, how are you?
Hey, Mo, how's it, man?
Kishap, and how was your week so far?
No, all good, thanks, man. Sorry, I missed you last week. Yeah, I had to do some other things. But I believe that you had a good one with my colleague Mapuda.
Yes, no, you left us in very good hands. But let's get to the stories because I'm very interested in the You Speak that's coming up a lot later on because I want to hear your thoughts when it comes to those two topics that we'll be covering then. But let's kick it off with the Royal Zulu War heats up. What does that mean and what is the context of this story?
Yeah, obviously, this is a rolling story. It's still ongoing. Even today, it started when the Queen Regent, Mantombi, Dlamini Zulu, if you may, passed on. She was admitted to a private hospital here in Johannesburg. And then obviously it was unexpected. A lot of people didn't think that she was gonna pass away, even though
Yeah.
we heard was not well. So immediately after that, obviously things started happening, and you must take that into context with the fact that ever since the king himself passed on, there's been a lot of bickering within the kingdom itself, in KZN, where the issues of succession were debated, and there was this and that and the other. So, and one of the things that came out of her passing is that there is a possibility, or there are suspicions that she was poisoned. So, I think a lot is going to happen.
Because it's a lot. When you think about it, it's not just it's a traditional problem that has modern implications. Because there's also still a will to be contested. There's still a family that feels that the rightful heir is not the rightful heir because he went to go grow up somewhere else in other lands. So he doesn't know their cultures, he doesn't know their traditions. So it's a story that's very deep, and it's a story that has been unfolding now for a good few weeks. I mean, you look at how it all came together. I mean, one passing is a lot, but two in the same royal family is a lot, eh?
It is. Actually, if you think about it, back to a couple of months ago, I think it could be last year, it's three. Because the first son of the king, of the late king himself, the first son, himself died under interesting circumstances here in Johannesburg, after having been partying with his friend and a group of women who are now appearing in court, Randburg Magistrate Court, for his murder. So he died, the father died, and now is the Queen Regent. So, yeah, we had a big memorial service today down in Nongoma, or Kwanongoma.
Yeah.
And I believe that there is still going to be a lot happening between now and probably the end of this year and beyond.
Well, our thoughts are with them and our well wishes are with them. But let's carry on to the next story because we are here to cover the most interesting headlines of the week. And this one, well, not just interesting, but very, very amazing because this maiden has been a virgin for 49 years. And now the long wait is coming to an end because Uzoshata.
Yeah, man. One of my favorite stories this week, out of Ketomena in KZN, obviously, just out of Devon. This woman, yeah, I mean, geez, they don't come like this anymore. So, but the interesting thing is that the husband to be has also spoken in the story, and he says, "No, it's fine. I understand culture, I respect it, but I also understand where she comes from, and I respect her wishes." So what they do something called. Uh,
Yeah, what do they do, Tabos?
so yeah, but anyway, they are not having sex. So they're
Yeah,
doing that is part of this culture.
yeah.
So what they do, they just hold, cuddle, kiss, and then the man puts the 4-5 on the thighs, but they don't go beyond that. So only after they get wedded officially will they go there. long way, so to speak.
So the Amos, what is amazing about the story is that this man has been with her for 12 years. 12 years he's waited and she went to go get tested again and again and again and she's still a virgin. And I don't know if it's patience. I don't know if it's love. I just, like if you guys see this guy, what was it? What's the secret ingredient to wait for 12 years? It's a very long wait.
It's a combination of everything, my brother. And I think in today's world, a lot of people, especially my 2000, they'll think that maybe this guy is a bit crazy or something. But he's not completely sort of new in the love or relationship, marriage stakes. He was married before the wife passed on. I think they had 4 kids or so.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, he is starting afresh, but the wife to be is fresh, so to speak.
Let's move on to the next story before we say things that are out of context. So the next story goes as follows. It says, basically it's an instruction manual on how to cut soul ties with your previous sex partners.
Yeah, I mean, these are some of the things we know basically from a long time ago. And I think our uncles and aunts will probably explain this better at home. So, just nyama, basically. So, if you've been in a relationship with someone and the relationship was a bit serious and that relationship comes to an end, the advice from the elders and from the sangomas that we spoke to and from, those who came before us, basically, is that don't just take it for granted and move on. Things might not work for you in the next relationship. So what you need to do is to make sure that you perform certain rituals to say goodbye to that previous relationship in a proper way, so to speak. And they gave us quite a number of options as to the rituals to perform. To make sure that you officially close that door, the previous,
soul tie,
relationship, and then open the door to the new relationship, which kind of makes sense because I can tell you that when I saw that story and I was doing a little bit of a desktop research, it's actually only in Africa that this thing is performed. Some other countries around the world have got the same ritual. They do the same thing. And one of the sangomas that we spoke to actually said this ritual is even more important in a case where maybe when you had a miscarriage or something of that nature. So yeah, it's important to close that chapter before you move on.
All right, it's a very important one. But if you go read the article, you'll find out more about the ingredients you need to be able to cancel out that soul tie you might have with your ex. But let's move on to the next story. Ayona, it's a very shocking one because when you think about it, like this one, first of all, this boy is an orphan and he still has the audacity to go break into his parents' house. And and they heard him through the voice or no, asas mang or botambo get down in Sangchelete.
Hey, this boy, man. It's sad and unfortunate, and we never get a lot of these crazy stories or a crazy story like this out of Kagiso in Krugersdorp on the West Rand. So he's 19. I guess there was a little bit of peer pressure as well. If you read the story and try to understand his psyche at the time, they are putting pressure on each other. No, we must get these sneakers or techies. Expensive and this and that and the other. But there's also an issue of affordability. I mean, his parents are both pensioners, clearly, because when they went to rob them, they also stole their SASA cards and this and man. It's unfortunate. It's a mess. The parents suspect that this boy might also be on some wrong things like bonyaope or something like that, because no one pulls a dirty move like this on your own parents or family.
Now, the problem is now when your parents have to report, or give them all to betting, That's the first problem I have. The second problem is that you still go in and you're still speaking. What Champaga voice? Because they know you, they've raised you. And the problem is that, like you said, these are pensioners, they're defenseless. You coming in, you stealing
When
1,000.
they
Yeah?
actually said, hey, wait.
Yeah.
We can hear Urkwe Amos.
But we don't care.
Why are you doing to us? And he was like, no, don't talk to me. Yeah, I think he was almost like, hi, I don't know, Ornajile Nyimpan.
But does he understand that after he's done all of this, I mean, they know who he is, he's going to jail for it, his life is ruined. I mean, he's only 19 years old. To go to jail at 19 and come out at a possible later date, you're still going to be haunted by those scars and the thoughts of Kotronkong and the people you be introduced to Kotronkong, what you be associated with. He might come out and he might be, you understand, his life has now changed because of this one pure pressure move. All right, no, let's move on. Let's talk about more when it comes to convicts, because these convicts are empowering other jailbirds. Amos, please tell us more about the story.
Yeah, this woman, actually, I remember I covered her story when she was arrested and sent to jail for fraud. She had defrauded her own employer, which is a big dairy manufacturer or company at the time. So she and her husband at the time were accused of having siphoned more than 200,000 from the company to their own company, because at the time she was also managing, together with the husband, they were managing Penny Papa Pen. So yeah, she was obviously successfully prosecuted, sent to jail. I think the sentence was 8 years at the time, and then she obviously make good of the situation, so to speak, because when she was in jail, she then didn't sit in a corner and wallow in her sorrow. She did something positive. She continued to empower herself, but not only herself. She also empowered her fellow inmates, because she's from an artistic background. She started doing workshops, Kara Kochele, Sun City. She started bringing other women on board. They even had a play inside there, which they performed, during one of those weekends where there was recreational activities and so on and so forth. So basically, she's, this is a classical case of rehabilitation.
Yeah.
She's done. She's continuing to do well even outside now, and she was very lucky, obviously, with parole and COVID. So her sentence was rapidly reduced, and that is why she's out within 3 years, if not less, because she was convicted in 2017.
Well, it's a very interesting story, because if you look at that, she's trying to upskill people that society sometimes forgets about, because when you have a criminal record, it's highly impossible sometimes to just get a simple job. And even if you get a job, if anything goes missing, goes by name, blame because you have that record to your name. But let's move on and talk about this radio host that got shot. And if I'm not mistaken, this is the second Josie FM radio host to get shot, and this time we're talking about Colin Hans.
Yes, it is, man. So unfortunate. And this is a guy I know personally. Those, but in terms of work, I mean, I've met him, I've spoken to him. So we got a call or info that Colin was shot, and details are still very sketchy, because apparently they found him in his car somewhere in Rockville. No one knew who shot him and why, and so on and so forth. But fortunately, his life was spared, which is what we are grateful for. I guess the rest are and he's able to walk and talk again.
I'm glad that he didn't actually lose his life during this incident, because when you look into the past, we found that Mandla Tlatswayo was also a radio DJ at Josie FM when he then got shot, also in Soweto. So it's something that we need to address. Why did they shoot him? Because right now we don't know all the facts.
Sure. Yeah. No, we don't at all. Even the police are still trying to piece together the case, to see, because it's a very difficult case, at least for now, till maybe someone comes forward with information, because they don't know what time he was shot, why he was shot, where he came from, and so on and so forth. So it's still very sketchy at this stage. But I'm sure that with a bit of investigations, we'll be able to get somewhere with the case.
All right, so let's move on to the next story now. This has to do with Prince KB. I mean, you know he has his lovely celebrity girlfriend, but his side girlfriend came out. What happened, bro? Amos? Because the 4-5 the public, you know.
Hey, bruh. Yeah, you know this thing of sliding into people's DMs. Hey, it's dangerous. It's dangerous. So it looks like Prince KB and this woman had those kind of situations where they were chatting privately in the DMs, you know, sliding in the dark or during the late hours of the night and so on and so forth. So I don't know what happened, obviously, to piss the woman off, because the reason why she obviously committed what is today a criminal offense, by the way, a revenge porn.
Yeah.
In this country is a criminal offense. And yeah, she leaked. And when I say leaked, I mean LEKED, not the other leak. So he leaked the pictures of of his 4-5 on Twitter or social media, where it was a mess, man. And you know, obviously Prince KB confirmed the story in a sense that he took responsibility and accepted that I know this woman, we've been chatting. Yes, it's true. The picture of the member that you see is mine. I apologize to my girlfriend. Hey, it's been a zigzag type of thing. I mean, at some point, I think, was it yesterday or Wednesday, Prince KB was trending with more than 60,000 tweets, which is unusual in this country. Normally, when you have somebody tweeting, you know, I mean, rather
trending,
it will be between 2,000 and 5,000.
60,000
tweets, you know. At the very most, when they say you broke the internet, maybe go 12, 50, 60,000.
Yo.
60,000 plus. And I'm talking about like more than 24 hours ago. So I don't know today where is that matter sitting at, because it also grew some legs. The story grew some legs. It developed where Prince KB obviously sent a letter of demand to her from the lawyers, and then she had to go back onto the same platform to pull out or to withdraw the statement. So it's been a mess. It's been a mess. But yeah, I mean, people of South Africa like their Twitter.
Yeah.
And they've been fun.
When I saw the story, I thought to myself, I'm like, you see, the story needs to be, we need to do the story, because I know, but Amos what to say. And I was quite correct, because it's one of those big stories that were even trending. That's a big trend right there. So what I want to do is that we're not going to discuss the You Speak. Unfortunately, we really are running out of time. So what we'll do is I will tell the viewers at home basically what it was all about, and then we'll go straight into the digital poll. So viewers at home, super viewers, the You Speak of that we wanted to address right now is basically about people saying pay domestic workers what they are worth. So this is talking to the fact that people feel that domestic workers are being exploited and being underpaid. And then it also went on. Now listen to this, because this is quite crucial. These are the people that are saying this. They're saying right now our politics have been basically destroyed, and our country has been destroyed also at the same time due to cadre deployment. And they're saying cadre deployment is destroying our country. Now, those are things that were running in the You Speak this week as people voiced their concern about how much domestic workers are earning. And also, as a country, we are a country that should know better. But then we talk also about what's happening in the government with cadre deployment. It's time for us to look at the digital polls, and then once we're done, me and Mr Amos will then discuss what we have just seen.
Sinirida la uthobani hlatshwayo inkinga yakhe umsebenzi uyawuthola umsebenzi kodwa akalast 2 months 3 months uyahamba hlala isikhathi engasebenza aphinda athola omunye mayithola futhi isikhashana esincane kuyaphela akazi ukuthi inkinga ikuphi ufuna ukwazi ngasizakala kanjani.
Ngambefera ukuthi makaye emuntwini mina le ndlela engamtshela ngayo umuntu lo akwazi ukuhlola akamlayeza ukuthi wena njengoba izinto zenzakala kanje okuncane lokhu uzokuthola before that 3 months ifika zama ukuthi uye emuntwini uyomtshela ukuthi no ngifuna ukuthi ungihlole kahle ukuthi lezi zinto zisho ukuthi ngoba mina mangibhekile lapho amadlozi amphethe lowo muntu ayikho into ezolunga kuye bayazama ukumnikeza imali encane ukuthi angaya ayoshona emphehleni so yena vela akayiboni that's why afuna ukubuza ukuthi kwenziwa yini angeke azasebenza angeke ayendawo lokusalayo makaye ayothwasa uzoba right
idlozi liyakuhluphekisa bakunzama uma lethanda
idlozi lenze ukuthi lihluphekise umuntu lifuna ukuthi umndeni wakhe ulicabanga malihlele ngaphansi lizongena ngomuntu oyi-1 lihluphekise yena nize nihamba nifuna niyithole ukuthi usibani ufuna ukubuya ekhaya nguye lahluphekisa lo sekumele avele avume lowo muntu makavuma nokuhlupheka kuyaphela ngoba indlela bazombonisa kumele aphile kanjani that's all.
Wow, the You Speak This Week is quite powerful because we've all seen the story unfold where someone gets a job and is unable to keep it and unable to keep the next job and the job after that. And then at the end, it's amawilo twasa because you have a calling. Ramos, I think you've also come across this in the past. Tell us more of your thoughts around what was covered in the digital bones.
Yes, so we've seen a lot of this, and I think it's a common occurrence, within most of our readers or with most of our readers. But even with ordinary people who do not have a calling menamo, I think it's almost like a basic thing that you need to know and understand as an African, because in most cases we ask, for things. It doesn't matter who you're asking from, depending on who you believe in terms of the spirit and the higher forces. But after asking and then you are given whatever you were asking for, people don't go back to report, to thank, whoever they asked things from, to say, thank you, I got this. And, so sometimes that's where the problem lies. And I think what Ntate Maluleke reminds us is that we need to do the basics. If you go and ask for something from somewhere, depending on your belief system, once you get that thing, go back and pay some respect.
No, it's a very powerful thing because now when you look at it, a lot of people are suffering, like they were saying already, can you losses make you suffer? And sometimes the message is not coming through because you're thinking that people are going to judge you. And basically you're not agreeing with what's happening in your life. But don't forget, every experience is personal. And once you make it a people experience, you lose out on the authenticity of yourself. And maybe that's why your ancestors will say then, so we have to make you live this life for you, and then come serve your calling. Ramos, thank you for your time, and I know I've never asked you this, but I need to know, where can people find you on the social medias?
My social media handle is @Mizosti, MEZOSTI, @Mizosti, both Twitter, Instagram, and then on Facebook it's simply Amos Mananyetso.
All right, thank you, Bramos. Thank you for joining us on the week that was. Well, super viewers, we've done it again. Another week of big stories and big challenges, big smiles and big tears. But thank you for joining me here on the week that was. And we'll see you again next week, Friday, from 5 to 5:30.
You're locked into SupaTV. Only on OpenView, channel 150.